let's jump right into this incredibly fascinating explainer. Today, we're doing something a little bit unusual, but completely captivating. We are going to take a deeply entrenched modern mystery, the famous UFO crash of December 9th, 1965 in Kecksburg, Pennsylvania, and examine it through a totally unexpected, ancient lens. We're actually combining the hard, physical facts of a mid-century military cover-up with the mathematical precision of Vedic astrology.
So right off the bat, you have to ask yourself, how in the world could the ancient system of Jyotisha, or Vedic astrology, possibly interpret the bizarre events of the Kecksburg UFO incident? I know, it sounds like a massive clash of two completely different worlds, right? But here's the thing. Jyotisha is literally designed to decode the nature of events based on temporal and celestial alignments. And when we apply its strict rules to the exact time and place of the Kecksburg crash, the results are honestly shockingly precise.
To make sense of all this, we're going to break our cosmic investigation into 5 key areas. First, the Kecksburg incident itself. Then, the 1965 sky, fire, and metal, the unknown object, and finally, we'll wrap up with the Vedic conclusion.
Okay, let's dive right into Section 1, the Kecksburg incident, and establish the physical facts of this mystery.
Let's look at the raw data of the event. Picture this. It's December 9th, 1965, right around 4:45 p.m. local time. A massive fireball suddenly streaks across the Pennsylvania sky. But notice that 20-minute duration. That is absolutely crucial. This wasn't just a quick blink and you miss it flash of a shooting star. This luminous trail was visible for a full 20 minutes, complete with intense sonic booms and multiple ground fires before ending in a massive impact in the woods of Kecksburg. And almost immediately after it hit, the military descends, heavily quarantines the area, and completely isolates all the evidence. Which brings us to Section 2, the 1965 sky, our astrological decoder. Now, on that exact day, there was a highly specific temporal configuration in the sky, known as a Kala dosha. Take a look at these alignments. The sun was sitting right near the end of Scorpio, and in Vedic astrology, Scorpio is the sign of mysteries, hidden underground things, and specifically, military secrets. It basically tells us that any celestial event happening at this exact time is highly prone to being hidden, reinterpreted, or just flat out manipulated by authorities. And right alongside this, we had a waning moon in the afternoon sky. The moon represents the public and the witnesses, so a waning moon, that indicates fading clarity, meaning we're going to get ambiguous, distorted, and highly conflicting witness accounts. It's wild how perfectly this configuration mirrors the actual chaotic reality of what happened on the ground.
And adding to all of this, the lunar nodes, Rahu and Ketu, were actually in a highly active axis during December 1965. Now, Rahu represents collective panic. It's all about spectacular, sudden phenomena in the sky, unexplainable lights, massive shock waves. Ketu, on the flip side, governs unrecognizable metal objects, capsules, strange fragments, and hidden or even non-human technology. So the big takeaway here is that the active nodal axis of Rahu and Ketu created a cosmic environment practically primed for exactly what we saw, a spectacular sky phenomenon involving strange, metallic technology that sent the public into total awe and confusion.
Moving on to Section 3, fire and metal. Let's see these planetary archetypes in action.
So we can systematically break down all this chaos into specific planetary influences. Think about those physical observations for a second. That intense 20-minute fireball, the sonic booms rattling windows, the multiple fires sparked on the ground, that absolutely screams Mars. Mars is the planet of fire, of incandescent metals, and violent drops from above. But then, look at the immediate aftermath. The heavy military quarantine, the aggressive recovery operations, the total lockdown of the woods. That is an unmistakable textbook sign of Saturn's influence. Saturn governs heavy objects, military technology, and absolute government secrecy. So what we're looking at is a rapid handoff from the fiery, explosive chaos of Mars in the sky straight to the cold, highly secretive lockdown of Saturn on the ground.
Now for Section 4, the unknown object, or what we'll call the Ketu archetype.
Now, the witnesses who actually managed to get close to the impact zone before the military cordon was locked down described something truly bizarre. They said it was shaped like a giant acorn. It was a monoblock construction, meaning it looked like just a single, solid piece of unrecognizable metal. Literally no windows, no seams, no doors anywhere. It also had these strange, almost hieroglyphic-like engraved symbols around the base. And really weirdly, there was a complete absence of smoke after the impact. Because of these incredibly specific traits, Jyotisha points directly to Ketu. Remember, Ketu is the archetype of the headless entity. It's something without a clear identity, something mysterious, non-aeronautical, and decidedly non-human. The Kecksburg object is pretty much the ultimate physical manifestation of Ketu.
So you're probably wondering, if a giant acorn covered in hieroglyphs crashed in the woods, why don't we know more about it today? Well, that brings us to the Shani-Rahu Yoga. This is a very potent combination of Saturn and Rahu, and it's notorious for generating what we call denied truths. It's deeply tied to state secrets, covert military operations, manipulated information, and classified objects. Think about it. Authorities immediately isolated the area, transported the wreckage out under armed escort, and then gave the public these wildly contradictory explanations. First they claimed it was a meteorite, then suddenly it was a Soviet satellite. This kind of intentional, high-level misdirection is exactly what you'd expect from a Shani-Rahu yoga. It's like an alignment literally designed by the cosmos to obscure the truth.
Let's wrap things up with Section 5, the Vedic conclusion and our final verdict.
Let's look at the math for a second, because the object's estimated speed as it descended was roughly 1,600 kilometers per hour. Why does that number matter so much? Because 1,600 kilometers per hour is simply way too slow for a natural meteorite entering our atmosphere. A real meteor would be traveling exponentially faster. And this perfectly aligns with our astrological reading. Mars was present, sure, but it wasn't dominant enough to indicate a purely natural celestial body crashing to Earth. That 1,600 kilometers per hour speed strongly indicates a controlled, or perhaps degraded, artificial flight path. It definitely wasn't just a random space rock.
Okay, so if it wasn't a meteor, was it just human technology? Like I mentioned earlier, the government's backup explanation was that it was a Soviet satellite called Cosmos 96. However, years later, NASA actually admitted to significant timing inconsistencies regarding the re-entry of Cosmos 96. They essentially confirmed it could not have been the object that crashed in Pennsylvania at 4:45 p.m. that day. And interestingly enough, astrologically, this completely checks out too. The position of Saturn just wasn't configured in a way that represents known, conventional human technology.
And this brilliantly illustrates the final Vedic reading of the entire event. When we combine the fiery Mars entry, the massive Saturn cover-up, the Rahu spectacle, and that bizarre Ketu artifact, this ancient framework leaves us with one very specific, undeniable answer. It was not a natural phenomenon, and it wasn't a conventional satellite. It was an unidentifiable technological artifact that was successfully recovered and then permanently classified.
So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a thought. If ancient celestial alignments can map so perfectly and so precisely to a classified UFO crash from 1965, what other modern secrets, massive cover-ups, and hidden technologies might the ancient sky be hiding?